Imagine a tiny, injured creature, close to death, finding a second chance. This video isn't just about saving animals, it's about the extraordinary humans who dedicate their lives to mending broken wings, healing fractured hearts, and releasing them back into the wild. Prepare for an emotional journey that will change how you see compassion. All around us, in forests, rivers, oceans, and even in the corners of busy cities, silent battles are happening every single day. These are battles most of us never see: battles for survival, for hope, and for freedom. And at the heart of these struggles, you will find two kinds of heroes. One is the animal, fragile yet resilient, fighting with everything it has just to live another day. The other is the human, the wildlife rescuer, the conservationist, the volunteer who chooses to stand beside that animal, offering it a second chance. This year, more than ever, stories of unseen battles have unfolded. Stories that remind us not just of the fragility of life, but of the power of kindness. Let's begin in the rainforests of South America. In a small rescue shelter, a baby capuchin monkey was brought in after its mother had been killed by poachers. This tiny creature, trembling, eyes wide with fear, clung desperately to the shirt of the rescuer who held it. For days, it wouldn't let go. It cried at night, its small hands shaking, as if begging not to be abandoned again. The staff didn't just feed the monkey. They stayed beside it. They let it cling. They gave it stuffed toys, warm blankets, and most importantly, patience. Slowly, the baby began to trust. And after months of care, it learned how to climb, swing, and eventually play. When the day came to release it into a protected reserve, the team gathered, tears in their eyes. This tiny life, once so close to being lost forever, now had a future. Lesson 1. Healing takes time, but with love and consistency, broken spirits can be mended. Now, let's travel north to the wilderness of Alaska. A bald eagle, the symbol of freedom, was found grounded, unable to fly. Its wings had been shattered by gunshot. For most, this would have been the end. But not for the dedicated rescue team who refused to give up. Surgery after surgery, physiotherapy sessions, and long months of rest followed. Imagine the patience it takes to work with a wild animal, to earn its trust enough to help, without taming its spirit. Finally, the day arrived. They carried the eagle to a cliffside, the wind rushing across the valley below. The eagle stretched its wings, and for the first time in over a year, it took flight. The crowd of rescuers gasped, then cheered, tears running down their faces. This was not just a bird flying. This was freedom restored. This was proof that even when life tries to clip your wings, with help, you can rise again. Far away in Asia, an elephant named Mira had stepped on a poacher's trap. The metal jaws tore deep into her leg. Weak, bleeding, and in unbearable pain, she could barely move. For days, villagers watched, unsure if she would survive. But the rescuers came. They sedated her, treated her wounds, and worked tirelessly for weeks to keep infection at bay. Every day, she fought. Every day, her caretakers refused to give up. Months later, she stood tall again, her limp barely noticeable, her spirit unbroken. And when she trumpeted into the forest, it was a sound of victory. Her story teaches us, pain may scar you, but it does not have to define you. As we witness these stories, we must ask ourselves, why do these humans fight so hard for animals that cannot speak their gratitude? The answer is simple, because compassion is not about recognition. It is about doing what is right, even when no one is watching. And perhaps that is the greatest lesson these unseen battles teach us. When we choose kindness, we are capable of miracles. Imagine the ocean at night. Waves crash softly against the shore as a tiny sea turtle hatches from its egg. Its flippers move awkwardly, carrying it toward the moonlit sea. But before it can reach safety, predators lurk. Gulls circle above, crabs scuttle close, and human footprints block its path. This year, on one remote beach, conservationists stood watch. They didn't just protect the hatchlings, they guided them. With soft red lights to mimic the moon, they carved a safe path. Hundreds of tiny turtles scrambled across the sand and slipped into the surf. Out of 1,000 hatchlings, only a handful will survive to adulthood. Yet the rescuers know every life matters. Lesson 2. Not every victory is measured in numbers. Sometimes, the greatest victories are the small ones, the ones no one else notices but still change the world. Now let's leave the beach and walk the busy streets of a crowded city. Among the honking cars and flashing lights, a stray dog limps along, ribs showing, eyes tired but hopeful. Every day is a battle to find food, to find shelter, to simply stay alive. But then, a rescuer sees him. With patience, a little food, and gentle words, the rescuer gains his trust. Slowly, the dog stops running. Slowly, he learns that not all humans mean harm. Taken into a shelter, the dog is washed, fed, and given medical care. For the first time in months, maybe years, he sleeps in safety. And soon, a family arrives. They kneel, they pet his head, and they whisper, "You're home now." That stray dog's survival became a miracle because one person cared enough to stop. Lesson 3. Sometimes, saving a life begins with the smallest act of kindness. High in the plains of the American West, wild horses, Mustangs run across open fields, their manes flowing like fire. But not all of them are free. Many are captured, rounded up, or injured. Their numbers shrink each year. This year, rescue groups worked tirelessly to save them. They built sanctuaries, gave medical treatment, and fought to release them back into protected lands. Watching a once injured Mustang gallop across the horizon again is like watching pure freedom come alive. Their story reminds us, freedom is worth fighting for, not just for us, but for every living creature. In Africa, the rhino faces one of the greatest battles of all extinction. Poachers hunt them for their horns, leaving behind lifeless giants who once ruled the savanna. But teams of rangers and conservationists refuse to surrender. They patrol day and night, risking their lives to protect these magnificent animals. Some even dehorn rhinos, a painful but life-saving act to make them less attractive to poachers. Every rhino saved is a triumph. Every calf that survives is hope for the future. And the lesson we take is this: when something precious is under threat, true courage is standing up to protect it no matter the cost. Think about it. These animals don't fight their battles alone. They fight with the help of people, ordinary people, who chose compassion over comfort, action over silence. And perhaps that's the reflection for us all. If we want to see miracles, we must be willing to create them. Deep in the rainforests of Borneo, an orangutan clings to a tree stump, its home destroyed by deforestation. Smoke lingers in the air from fires set to clear the land. Alone, thin, and terrified, the orangutan stares into a future that seems uncertain. But rescuers arrive. They cradle the frightened primate, feed it, and bring it to a sanctuary. Here, it learns how to climb again, how to forage, how to be wild. Months later, when it's released back into a protected forest, the orangutan pauses, then disappears into the green canopy with new strength. Its story whispers to us, even when the world takes everything away, you can still hold on because hope has a way of finding you. Far to the north, a polar bear searches endlessly across melting ice, desperate to find food. Climate change has turned its hunting ground into a fragile puzzle of ice sheets, each one smaller than the last. This year, wildlife teams tracked, studied, and even airlifted food supplies to help starving bears survive. Scientists worked around the clock because every polar bear that survives is a symbol of what's still possible if we act. The bear's struggle is a warning, but also a call. When the ground beneath us feels like it's melting, we must adapt, fight harder, and protect the future before it disappears. Off the coast of Florida, a dolphin was found entangled in fishing nets. Exhausted and gasping, it thrashed helplessly. Many dolphins never make it out of such traps. But this one's story was different. Rescuers dove into the waves, cutting the ropes with careful precision. The dolphin, sensing freedom, stilled itself as if it understood. And when the last rope fell away, it leapt high above the waves, splashing joyfully before disappearing into the deep blue. That leap was more than celebration. It was a message. Freedom is worth the fight. And sometimes, when others help you, you find the strength to rise higher than you ever imagined. Each of these miracles, the orangutan, the polar bear, the dolphin, they are not just animal stories, they are human stories too. They remind us that no matter how broken, lost, or trapped we feel, there is always a second chance. But here's the truth. Miracles don't just happen. They are made. They are made by people who care enough to act, by people who refuse to walk away, by people who believe that compassion is stronger than cruelty. And so I ask you, as you've walked with me through these unseen battles, what battles are you willing to fight? What kindness are you willing to give? What miracle can you help create? Because at the end of the day, this isn't only about animals. This is about us, about the kind of world we want to live in, the kind of future we want to leave behind. Imagine again that tiny, injured creature, close to death, given a second chance. That story doesn't just belong to animals. It belongs to all of us. Because when we fight for the voiceless, when we choose compassion over indifference, we remind ourselves that hope is never lost. And maybe that is the greatest miracle of all. If you find the story helpful, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment below.